academic success, which potentially can make or break their dreams about where to go and what to do after school. That's a bit dramatic, but I think that often happens. You know, somebody who absolutely crashes and burns in math, who wanted all his life to be a pilot, or who wanted to go to med school, that's problematic. And you know that. So remember, the next time you're doing something and you're really lousy at it, remember that there are a lot of other people who are lousy at it too, and that there are ways for you to mitigate the pain you feel and improve your performance, even though you may be deeply committed to the belief that you're really lousy at it. And the other thing is, this is hugely important. This is kind of a cool idea. Just to preview something we'll talk a lot more about in months to come. You'll notice when Austin was talking about the graphing problem or the calculator problem, you came up with what reasons why it's a problem in class? Why is it a problem?
Well, I just feel like it's not really, he doesn't really elaborate on it. He kind of just does it one time and then expects you to understand how to do it.
So whose problem is it?
That's not, stop it.
Whose problem is
Stop it.
it? He's gonna cry now. No, whose problem?
Well,
Essentially,
it's not.
It's your problem!
No,
Ah.
Ralph.
Oh.
He's not.
I
No,
think it's
Austin.
probably-
Here's the point. The point is
This
Austin's
is over
not
the top.
blaming himself as much as.
Well, I mean, I feel like when you take there are certain approaches when it comes to like academics that definitely help. Not even just me, but like other people.
Okay.
And I feel like I feel like it's more biased when you don't actually elaborate and write out certain things and just assume that people understand it.
I understand.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Jam.
I guess we're talking about Jam, but the
We're
larger.
talking about
I love
Austin.
Jam. I'm just saying,
I
like, when it
understand
comes
that.
to calculator stuff, I'm calculator.
Just to anticipate something we'll be talking a lot more about later, when you assign causes for your own current condition or your own behavior, why you do what you do, or why you struggle, or why you succeed, that process in psychology is referred to as attribution, making an attribution. There are internal attributions, like it's all about me, and then there are external attributions. It's about my circumstances, it's about other people. Often, as you're noticing right here, when people struggle, in order to preserve their own positive image of themselves, they'll make external attributions for their struggles. They'll assign the cause of their problems to agents outside of themselves. I'm not saying it's not true.
Like
I'm
in The
just saying
Matrix?
it's a tendency that people have. And when they succeed, the normal human response is to credit yourself, is for people to credit themselves for their successes. So internal attributions in the aftermath or in the wake of successes, external attributions in the aftermath of failures or struggles. See what I'm saying?
Am I paying you by the hour?
Always have internal attributions for the most part.
Say that again?
What if people just usually have internal attributions? Like even if it's for a negative thing.
Then they're like the guilty neurotic people we all know will never shoot up a liquor store, but who might feel really bad about themselves a lot of the time. The people after my own heart, people I admire, because they don't give anybody else any crap. It's always on them. They're the hyper-responsible people. They're the
People
leaders
that
of our
rob
society.
liquor stores are hyper responsible.
Who do not. You weren't listening.
Oh. I was gonna say, I don't think that's right.
I know.
I think those people are hyper irresponsible.
Does it make me a bad person if I want sometimes to slap Rolf upside the head really hard? No.
No.
Okay. Thank you for that validation. So anyway, these are some constructs. What's a construct? Marissa, do you remember what a construct is?
Not particularly.
Who remembers what a construct is? Emma, you want to give a guess?
A construct.
A construct. Example, perceived competence. External attribution, internal attribution. Actually, that's less good as a construct. Another construct would be self-esteem. Another construct in psychology would be depression. Another construct
Is
would
that
be...
like a appropriate psychological term, self-esteem?
No, not so much. It's sloppy.
So a construct is like
think?
Well, those are all kind of things that happen with emotions a little bit.
Okay, what if you had to go even broader? What if you had to go more general with the definition? Because those just happen to be my examples.
I don't remember.
No? Engage?
Something that happens in the brain that you
Just
create
film
yourself.
Marissa. That's all YouTube wants to see.
Something like that, but hey, a
Hi.
construct, it's a set of assumptions that are used to explain in psychology why people do the things they do, or human behavior, some aspect of human behavior. It's often about behavior that defines something that can't be directly observed, something whose existence can only be inferred from observing its effects. So a self-image is probably the more apt term, not self-esteem. Self-image is a construct. What is somebody's self-image? Can you measure it directly? No. But it seems to be pretty useful as a concept, as an idea, guiding questions that psychologists ask and doing research. So it's like a model, if you like, a model to help explain some of the observed phenomena
It's
in
like
any
coming up
scientific.
with a synapse before you could actually see a synapse.
Yeah, before synapses could be observed, for Sherrington, from his point of view, they were a construct. When you can directly observe something, it ceases to be a construct. It's a phenomenon, I suppose you could say, or it's a structure. But constructs don't ever have to be observable. They don't ever have to be realizable in physical form. For example, something we're going to talk about maybe not too long in the future, not too far in the future, I should say, is the ego. What is the ego? It's a construct proposed by Sigmund Freud that encompasses all kinds of different human skills and traits and brain functions, and it's not ever possible to directly observe an ego. An ego is not something that's concrete. It's
Isn't it just you, like their perception of themselves?
that's more self-image. Ego is self. That's maybe a closer definition of it. But the point is that it's a construct. Jealousy is a construct. If you're doing research in psychology on jealousy, jealousy has to be a construct. A construct is defined in psychology and in a lot of different disciplines, primarily according to what it is you measure to infer its existence. Do you know what I'm saying? So I came up, for example, with a jealousy scale of 20 items that purported to tap into how jealous different people were and how much jealousy they carried inside themselves, inside their hearts. Then I would be defining, to a large extent, my construct of jealousy with those questions. So it's an abstract thing. It's all abstract. Brain structures are not constructs. They're structures. They're real. They're directly observable in a more or less crude kind of way still. But a neuron is not a construct. The synapse is no longer a construct. But a lot of stuff in psychology, partly because you can't observe it because we're not even sure whether it exists, partly sometimes because it's just so abstract and broadly encompassing, psychology makes use of lots of constructs to explain what's going on. Does that make sense? It's a hugely important idea in research, the idea of a construct. Does that make some sense? Mickey? Jaith? Give me a big Mickey.
All right.
There you go. John, were you going to say something?
What?
Were you going to say something?
Yeah. No, don't do that. Okay. Oh yeah, but I'm sure if you like, whatever they do when they watch the brain, what parts light up when they inspect it, you know, MRI.
You don't.
Yeah, it's an MRI probably.
MRI?
Which part,
Legion?
like, where they can watch which part of the brain is active when you're doing something.
Functional MRI?
Yeah,
Or
functional
PET
MRI,
scan,
yeah.
which is a little different.
I'm sure if you did like, if you showed someone something that made them jealous, you can see like a similar part would light up for every person because it would trigger the same set of